good.
All right, excellent. So welcome everyone today to Core Pursuit. Really happy to have you today. We have a phenomenal topic that I really love. We're going to be talking about energy mapping. So welcome if you're on this particular episode, and to everybody who's been able to join us throughout the last several Core Pursuit episodes, we thank you as well. Today is the last live public episode. So some of the people who are within the Kathleen Black Coaching Consulting client family already, if you're at a mastery coaching level or above, you will continue to get the Core Pursuit. If you're in our legacy or lifestyle, or you're involved in some of our other programs, then we do have special pricing for you, and you're going to get an email afterwards. So we won't talk about that right now because we have an exciting topic today that I want to jump into. But as a reminder, I think it's really important, we're bringing this program forward because, again, it deals with mindset, communication, and leadership. And those are the integral qualities that are going to make up 80% of our success in any given situation. So vital for us to invest in those, because if we have more associates who have, systems, skills, training when it comes to those three areas, it allows us to be successful quicker as well. It drives a family forward, a business forward, a team forward. So it really allows us to make that lasting change. What we specialize in is helping people align who they are, what their values are, what their purpose is, and align that with what they do to actually make an income. And what we find that's beautiful is that when you can do that, you create a bigger purpose in your life. And I think you'll hear this from, trainers, guides, mentors, sages and seers, and, just teachers throughout time, that if we can create a purpose with our life, that's where the best, most, deep satisfaction is going to come from. And the beautiful thing is that if you can find that purpose, it becomes a lot easier to provide value. And value is what creates profit. So you can find a way to systemize, to automate creating profit. But if you're a business owner in any business, in any industry, if you can align the energy, the purpose, the intention with the systems and tools for your team, your corporation, again, your small business, that's where you get people who are aligned with purpose. And that's where you change the game. Profit is not a purpose, right? We can get profit on purpose, but it's not an underlying purpose. That's not our pursuit. So we happen to work often in the real estate industry, but that's just a coincidence, right? What we really do is help people, again, to get into alignment with their version of success, with their values, with their mental outlook, so they can create a life that they're happy with, that they're proud of. I don't know about you, but I don't think there's any reason for anybody who's tuning in here to have those things to say, life's too short, do what you want. Well, if you're in alignment and you're setting goals and you're setting targets, you're already planning to do the things that you want to do. You're already in choice. And I think that's really vital, because today we're talking about, again, energy mapping. And energy mapping is a vital tool for top performers. It's one of the main strategies that I work with for those who are hitting a cap in any industry, or hitting a cap, again, in a relationship with a spouse, with a loved one, with a child, hitting a cap in a team environment. It allows you to uncover things that are potentially holding you back personally. And those are the things that will stop your success. Okay, so we're going to go through this, and energy mapping is looking at where are we actually depleting the most energy. And we'll look at the fact that some of us, by the time we show up in our workplace, our career, have really very low amounts of energy to actually work with, to play with. And that's quite a problem. So we're going to talk about that shortly. Rob is on the call with us today, so I'm sure he will jump in as needed, but he's going to probably let me run with this. But please, for sure, Rob, if I'm missing something or something you want to add in, absolutely, please, we're happy to do that. And this is just kind of an example. If you're not sure what we do and what we're all about, obviously we have multiple programs that we work with. Flip Scripts works with conversion. Ultimate Team Summit is the biggest team event to happen. That's exclusively for teams right now in North America, let alone for such high production levels. And in June, we have 100+ deal mastermind. So our typical client is somebody who's operating at the top 5, but probably more so the top 1% in their industry, and is looking to be able to still increase and not be stagnant. So that's our typical clientele. And then, of course, we have Core Pursuit, which is, open to anybody looking to invest in their mindset. So today we are talking about core beliefs. That is the episode that we're working with. Core focus, again, is the meditation visualization. I listen to a meditation every morning every night as I go to bed. I swear it helps me to fall asleep. My children to this day, if they're having trouble relaxing, will put on a sleep meditation to fall asleep. They'll ask to do so. So definitely a tool that we use in our household, and having new meditations that perhaps cause you to think about other areas that you're not consciously looking at. It's something we wouldn't have maybe selected ourselves, is quite important for us as well. Then of course, core awakening is the wake-up call. Wake ourselves up on the right note, have a little message that's positive. So anybody who would like to join Core Pursuit, if you're happy at the end of today's webcast, then absolutely you have the option to do that. You will be sent an email, which is going to right away when you click to it, allow you to have half price up until Friday. After that point, we already have set pricing in place, but this is just an incentive to thank all of you for joining us, for being engaged, for applying some of these tools, right? So what is energy mapping? I think it's important to kind of look at, I've been taught about energy mapping from multiple different trainers, multiple different teachers. And I think, you know, people call it many different things, right? Initially, I was taught it with Energetic Life Map, and then there was another company that was teaching. And I've read so many books and had so many different teachers by way of authors, you start to realize that this content is actually, it's been around for a long, long, long time. Some of it's much more, you know, Eastern in thought process, but it's no one person's intellectual property at this point, because there's so many teachers, you know, around the globe teaching it. What I think is the most important thing about energy mapping is understanding what it is to try to live within these concepts. It took me years to truly understand what the different formulas were and how to assess my energy and what it meant for me, and to really pay attention. And that's one thing, if you only take that from today, I can say there are times in my life where my energy has been very low, and I've tried to fight it, right? During big business growth, do it during top sales seasons, during time where I transitioned from my prior company, right? When I sold the shares there, there's been times where my body's just said, hey, like your energy is low. And instead of ignoring it, I've learned to pay attention and take it really seriously and try to take action as quickly as possible. If your energy levels are low, there's a reason. There's something that's depleting. And I've been taught and seen it in practice with others and with myself that you either pay attention when it comes to your energy levels, or you pay with pain. And when you really understand that, it's vital, right? We can't afford not to pay attention. I don't know about you, I have 2 children, I'm a single parent, I run a business that's very busy, I have other people whose incomes rely on that business, and then of course I have my purpose, my life, traveling that I want to do, contribution that I want to do, and I can't afford not to pay attention to my energy levels. So if you're feeling tired, if you're feeling depleted, you're feeling weak, that's a sign that something's off, right? Maybe it's your mindset that's off. Maybe it's the way that you're approaching your industry. I'm not saying you need to change jobs or change spouses or, you know, kick your children out. I'm by no means saying any of that. But I'm saying, again, you pay attention when something's off and take the time to recuperate or ask yourself, what does this have to do with me, right? What's at the core of this? Where is this coming from? Really try to uncover that. Or again, over time, you're going to pay with pain. And pain could be a short illness. It could be a longer illness. It could be a really serious illness. And sometimes people we know can just ignore things, right? They get so used to being tired, so used to being uncomfortable, so used to being depleted that they start to think that's normal. And in my world, that's a massive warning sign, massive. So I'm just saying, just the start of this, if that's all you take from this, pay close attention to your energy levels and what allows you to feel more energized and what really depletes you. And all of us are going to have days we feel more energized than not, but it's getting in tune with those things. So to introduce this, I'm going to introduce it one of the ways I've been taught. Some of you might have seen this, you know, more as a circular flow, but essentially when we wake up in the morning, and yes, I don't know why this is a blue person. It could have been pink, purple, red, whatever, right? But let's say this is our non-gendered anyone person. So we wake up in the morning and we're going to have a certain amount of energy right off the bat. So either I'm going to wake up and I have full energy stores and I feel phenomenal and I feel fulfilled and I feel engaged, or I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be really tired. already my energy's low. Let's say I went to bed really late. I didn't exercise the night before. I decided it was a good idea to have a glass of wine, you know, bring it to bed with me. Why not? You know, bad habit of mine, have a glass of wine. I'm like, oh, just drink it, right? As I'm falling asleep. Not a good idea. Only one, don't get me wrong. So anyway, I might wake up with that energy already being a little bit depleted. So the first thing that I'm going to hit when I wake up in the morning is again, that energy level. And again, what we want to get to is where we're waking up with stronger energy stores, because if I go to bed exhausted, I'm not going to wake up with full energy. And most people don't in general. So there's some things that we do to contribute to that energy. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. We're not quite there. So you notice that we're flowing up in a right swing here. So most energy, when you look at molecules, you look at living things, they flow in a right scale. So we're doing that as well. So let's say again, I wake up and I've got, you know, 20% energy levels and I'm going to hit my relationships. So first of all, I'm going to challenge you guys, just think about it in your own head. But what relationships do you think you hit first in the day? Which relationships do you actually think are going to impact you most during the day? What do we think? So think about kind of an idea, and I'm going to challenge you that your relationships, I'm trying to go through so I can draw so you guys can see this. Your relationships, you're either going to flow right through them, right, and have a healthy flow here, or what else could happen is that I could go to hit my relationships and have a major issue, and I'm going to have to take a whole bunch of energy actually having to do a detour. And that's where problems happen, because you notice I haven't even gotten to work yet, right? Like I haven't eaten yet. I haven't done anything that's going to be physically altering my energy system. So I'm going to wake up and either I'm going to have a great relationship, and I'm going to really challenge all of you out there. You can put it in the chat if you want what you came up with. What would be the first relationship that's going to impact you? But I'm going to challenge you that the first relationship that's going to impact you is actually yourself. So I'm going to wake up and either I have a really healthy relationship with myself. I see myself as confident, as capable, as able to bend my world. And yeah, you could say, wow, Kathleen, that's a little extreme. Are you going to bend the world? And I'd really say it's not. It's not extreme. It's actually extremely accurate is what it is. That people who are confident and in flow, and people who are in flow would have a more consistent energy path, right? They wouldn't have these big spikes way, way up and then have equally rebounded energy. They'd be a little bit more consistent. So if I'm in flow, I'm actually in a place where today I'm considering what's good for me today, what makes me feel fulfilled, what makes me feel happy, but I'm also confident that I'm making choices which are in line with what I want 1 year from now, 6 months, 2 years from now, 5 years. That's how you get into that flow where you can actually bend opportunities in your favor. So I'm going to hit this relationship with myself. And if that relationship with myself is not positive, I could already be deleting a lot of energy. And just to challenge you, I mean, we all could wake up and have a really busy day. Like I've caught myself waking up and feeling anxious and being, oh my gosh, you know, like my day is jam-packed. I'm not going to be able to breathe. I'm not going to be able to eat. I'm going to have to run if I have to go to the washroom. Like it causes a little bit of anxiety, right? How am I actually going to get through this day? I also have days where I wake up and I feel excited. I feel elated at the amazing clients I get to talk to. I get to go out and speak, and I love that. I always feel good when I get to leave and drive somewhere. So it's always a positive start. So my relationship with myself might be really positive at the start of that. Oh, thanks, Rob. Sorry, I saw something flashing. I just distracted us. But my relationships might be really positive at the start of that day. So what other relationships are we going to hit? We're going to hit spouses, right? So you could have an amazing relationship with your spouse. You could have a so-so relationship. You could have an amazing relationship yesterday, and today it's awful, it sucks, you want a divorce, right? That's life. It goes in patterns. So we could hit that relationship, and it could either help us keep our energy intact and help us flow up to the next part of our day, or it could massively deplete us. Now, I'm always really careful with this, because sometimes when we're going through hardships in our lives, the easiest thing to do would be to assess that the problem is the other person, right? Like the problem's my children, or the problem's that nasty husband, or, you know, that boyfriend who doesn't care, or that girlfriend who doesn't care, or that nasty ex-wife, right? Whatever, it doesn't matter. I can assess it that way. The whole point of this framework is for us to be able to assess ourselves. I'm powerful when I am conscious of my strengths, my weaknesses, and what I'm bringing to the table. How am I communicating? So the power of this is as an awareness tool, a consciousness tool. How can I be conscious of what's allowing me to flow into my most important tasks, my passion, my purpose, my core? How can I be conscious of what's allowing me to stay in tune with that? How can I also be conscious of what's impacting me? So I'll give you an example. I'm always pretty transparent that I have a 14-year-old son. He's amazing. He just got nominated to go to this leadership camp. He has all sorts of leadership awards, you know. So out in the world mirrors to me that I've done a good job, right? So thank you, I've got that. But in my home, a little bit more difficult because my son is a strong personality. He is a natural leader, which means he's task-oriented, and he's very dominant, very dominant. So it's difficult because in the morning, I could hit that relationship with him where he's coming into my space and taking my stuff and not knocking and all that stuff. And I could forget myself and I could let it completely deplete me. Or if I have awareness, I can be aware of how I respond to this situation is actually going to dictate how much of my energy it takes. So I could choose to get mad and yell and say, get out of my room and do all this crazy stuff. I could choose to do that. And sometimes it's a good choice sometimes, but most of the time it's not, because it's going to deplete my energy and it's going to affect my day. And in fact, it's also going to deplete his energy. So having an awareness of how are these different relationships impacting me has been very powerful in my life. And I'm going to say that as we go through this training, and there'll be a few different sessions on this topic because it's huge. Like, it's taken me years to be able to live and work with it. As you have this training, I also have some relationships that I went through and I realized these relationships are taking too much energy from me. These relationships, in fact, even when I'm neutral and I'm in control of how I respond, not react to them, they're actually depleting me. They're not healthy for me. They're not in line with my values. They're not people who I would take their advice or their expertise. They just look at life in a very different way from me. So those relationships, I still honor those people. There's no comparison. I'm not better than them. They're not worse than me. They're not better than me, but they're not serving me as a person, and they're not allowing me to have more energy to do what I was put here to do. So in my life, there's several people in relationships who I don't have connection with anymore. And I'm not talking about friends that you outgrow. Like, there's people still so dear to my heart that, you know, because my life changed many times, I'm not close with. I'm talking more about direct influences that I had to have an awareness that this is not serving my life. In fact, this is making my life harder, right? People who create drama, people who constantly are competitive, people you can't trust, people who don't have integrity in business, I've found often don't have integrity in their personal lives either. And for me, that's been an awareness. It was a very painful awareness. So I've got this energy that I start my day with, and I'm going to hit these relationships. So maybe there's a relationship problem with myself. Maybe there's a relationship partner with my coworker, right? And we're not seeing eye to eye. And we both have these amazing, beautiful talents, but we're just hitting heads. And that's all we spend our whole day doing. Butting heads, arguing, trying to, you know, understand each other. And we never get to the point of producing or creating. So let's really assess for yourself. So far, as we go around this, I hope you guys all have a pen and paper. I really hope so. So what I want you to do as we go around this, I want you to give yourself a rating. So for energetic, give yourself a rating out of 10. How do you usually start your day? And be honest. You know, I have days that are higher than others. How do you usually start your day? Relationships. Relationship with yourself, relationship with other people who are close to you. Even if you think it's their fault at this point, maybe it is, I don't know. You still want to take that into consideration. What is your rating out of 10 on relationships? Okay, so now we're going to flow up to the next. I'm just going to hopefully move my menu here. I don't think I can. So now we're going to flow up to our actual, just 1 second. There, I just want to make sure I can see that you guys have the right thing on your screen. Good. So we're going to actually flow up to the next step, which, let's see here. Okay, so we're going to flow up to health. So at this point, we've had relationships, right, that are going to help us or are possibly going to hinder us. And we're going to flow up to our health. So health isn't just one column. Health is actually going to be 3 different columns. So health for us would be anywhere mental, emotional, or possibly physical health. So if I'm flowing up again with a huge amount of energy because I'm waking up invested, I have purpose, and my relationships are either fulfilling me, they're making it easier for me to keep my energy, or they're depleting me, I'm now going to hit health. So how is my mental health? How is my emotional health? And how is my physical health? So I'm going to ask you to give yourself a rating out of 10, but just for health, because I'm going to have you do a second step to this exercise at the end, depending how much time, but I'm still going to ask you guys to do it. I'll explain it because it's important. Okay. It's going to make this all make sense. So if you think about your mental health, your clarity, your focus, also your ability to respond to things around you versus react, think of that as a rating of 1 to 10 to start. Emotional health, how are you feeling, right? When you're around people, when you're around your team, your business, your family, when you're driving wherever you've got to go in the day, how are you feeling? When you lie down at night to go to bed, right? Like, are you feeling fulfilled? Are you feeling happy? Are you feeling that you're making a contribution, right? Where do those things lie? And finally, physical health, which again, I'm a big proponent. I've learned the hard way, to be honest, in some ways, not as hard as I could have. I don't need a worse lesson, but I've learned the hard way that really what goes on in our lives can come out physically, right? I've had times in my life where when I was younger, I was under mass amounts of stress. I left home very young. I bounced between households that sometimes I didn't even know where I was going to live. I hid in boyfriends' closets to, multiple nights. His parents didn't even know I was living there because I just didn't have anywhere to go. So I had really stressful times. And I remember a doctor actually saying to me, my family doctor, I went to see him because I kept coughing. I just constantly had this bronchitis, and I'd be on buses because I was trying to go to school still and, stay with friends, anyone who would take me in. And he looked at me and he actually said, he's like, if you keep up like this, you're going to kill yourself and you're going to die. Not kill yourself, but you're going to become very ill. Like your respiratory system is not operating well. You're not doing well here. So it ended up to continue, and I got an ulcer, which sounds like a little thing, but when you're in high school and you have an ulcer and your stomach was constantly irritated, it was actually really difficult. I was out of school a huge amount of the time. I remember just crying because I constantly felt nauseous, and it took them a long time to figure out what it was. So I was very young, and it was from the energy levels. I was under so much stress from the minute I woke up, trying to function in the family relationships around me, that my body and my mentality was just shutting down. Like before I got to high school, before I got to do things that were fun, I remember huge periods of time where I just didn't want to go out because I was so self-conscious that I would feel ill and I would feel sick. But a lot of it, as much as it was real, like they did all the tests, there was a real ulcer, like it's legitimate, but a lot of it still, it was psychosomatic, not in a made up way, but in an energetic way. My body was reacting to where my mindset and my energy was. So you guys can think of this for yourself and look back, are there some ties to times that, physically things were really tough that were related to your energetics? And I can tell you, going through those periods and that of having, weird things happen, I can't afford not to pay attention. I can't afford, with my business and my purpose, not to have my energy levels high. I can't do what I need to do with my business and my family unless my health is high. Okay, so part of the mental, emotional, and physical will also include, running, yoga, going to the gym, CrossFit, whatever it is for you. How much are you actually paying attention to your physical health? Maybe it's walking. Right? Walking is a fantastic exercise. Maybe that's what it is for you. Maybe it's swimming. How much attention are you paying? Maybe you need less exercise than I do. I need a lot. Maybe you need less. Maybe you need more than me, right? So now I want you to kind of give yourself an average. So for health, out of 10, what would your rating be? If you took into consideration physical, emotional, and mental, would you be at a 2? Would you be at a 9? Would you be at a 10? Be honest with yourself. Would you be at an 8? So is that, again, contributing to my energy going up, or is it depleting me? Okay, so that's what we want to look at this point. Now, finally, I haven't even given you guys any tools, right, within all these different columns yet. We haven't even gone there yet. So finally, I get to the point where I'm finally showing up in my career. right? Think about it. For some of us, this is like 8:30 in the morning, 8 a.m., sometimes earlier. Sometimes I'm starting my work day, right? I've already been up, I've already done yoga, I've had the kids organized, I've already done all of that. So we're still at a really short period into our day, and now we're showing up at career and business. This is the problem with business coaching and pushing systems on people again and again and again. And I'm a systems coach, I'm a business coach, I love systems, I love numbers, I love efficiency, don't get me wrong. But the problem with it is that we're not taking into consideration the vehicle that those systems are using. And that vehicle is us. You can have the best systems, the best tools, the best presentations. If you're showing up into your career and you are so depleted that you can't have a purpose, that you can't be passionate, that you can't be energized, I can tell you right now, you have an issue with value exchange because you don't have enough energy to put that value out into the public. People want to work with people who are passionate and energized about what they do. People want to work with why you do what you do, right? Simon Sinek 101, I love his stuff. Again, I always recommend watch his videos, watch The Power of Why. People want to work with why you do what you do. And guess what that why is? It's your purpose, your passion, your core. And there's a reason why those things energize us. So if you're trying to look to increase your financial or your sales aspect, it's really important that you're honest and assess how much am I showing up with when I actually get to my career. It's so vital. So that is actually an energy exchange. And we're going to look at this in a minute. The other thing is, it was taught to me, and sorry if I'm delaying, I'm just moving my menu all over here. So it was taught to me that when you have a career or business problem, often you actually have a relationship problem. And when I first realized that, and I had went through some challenges with the prior company, although I ran the company, I still obviously had a silent partner. We had, team members, things like that. But I went through some things and I kept looking like, what's the problem? Like, why, no matter how hard we try and how much we push and how much energy I exert, why are we not moving forward? Why is it so hard for us? And what it came down to, guess what? It was a relationship problem. I was trying to get a vision on board with people who were magnificent. They were great, but their values weren't the same as mine. Their vision wasn't the same as mine. Their purpose wasn't the same as mine. So what did we end up doing? Spending all of that energy trying to get on the same page, and we never got to move forward like we did. I created massive content, and the company did much, much better. It was in massive debt. We turned it around. That was all positive. But when it came time to actually do what the company was capable of, we couldn't do it because there was a relationship issue there. And no matter how much we wanted it, it was not going to happen. So who you work with and who you associate with is just as important as what your career and business is, because that dynamic alone will mean you never show up to actually do what that company, that team, that family, that business is capable of. Really important. So we flow to career and business, and now again, I might show up with 10% energy. I might show up with, it might feel like nothing, right? I might show up with 80%. And now finally, I'm going to flow down to prosperity and abundance. Now you will notice that prosperity and abundance are right across from energetic. So that if you think about it with a line between them, that right there is that value exchange. The amount of energy I show up with and that I get to maintain as I come into my career and business is going to be directly correlated with prosperity. Making sense? So this is that cap. So if we're going into our business, and again, we have these blockages of what we're trying to do in my mindset. Let's say maybe I'm self-conscious, right? I don't have confidence when I go to appointments, and I wonder if they think, they don't like what I'm wearing, or if they think, who the heck is she to show up here? Or if they think, oh, maybe we should have worked with our competitor. Maybe they think, oh, she's not the real deal, like somebody else did this. Who knows? If I showed up with any of that, my energy would be so depleted. Even if I have better coaching, better content, better results, better track record, 10 million times more experience, even if I have all of that, if I show up and my energetics and my mindset are so low about what I'm meant to do, I'm not going to get the prosperity. I'm not going to get the result because I showed up with depleted energy with a system that worked. So what does this mean? I did all the right things. I truly did. I did what I was taught to do. I did what I knew was needed, but I wasn't being what those systems were designed for. My eyes weren't seeing in a way that somebody who can thrive with those tools would see them. right? We had a complete disconnect between who I was being and what I was doing, if that's what I was thinking. So for those of you out here saying, oh, I don't know, you know, that idea, like fake it till you make it, if we're showing up and in my head, I'm thinking, I really hope they like me. I really hope they sign. I really hope they don't object. I really hope that this sales presentation goes great. Trust me, doesn't matter what you say, how great your presentation is, you will communicate that with your body language. Rob's helped us talk about this before. 97% of our communication, or sorry, 93% of our communication is non-verbal, right? You will be communicating those things. So where else does some of this awareness show up for us? And I would say, whoops. My computer loves to be finicky when we're on live webcasts. It just loves it. You know, I think it's just for fun. It's like, Kathleen, how much can you stay on your flow despite technical issues? Okay, so at the top here, spiritual universe is not, you know, any one thing. It's whatever it is for you. I've only started really to invest in and understand my spiritual life in the past, I'd say 4 to 5 years. Before that, I wasn't really in tune with it. I didn't know what it meant. For me, it's not religion. For some of my clients, it is. It doesn't matter. It's whatever it is for you that you respect and hold sacred. So spiritual universe is like, do I believe that there's a purpose, again, bigger than me? Or do I believe that there's other energy I can plug into? So those of you who listen to like Abraham Hicks or Esther Hicks and Abraham, things like that, which is all about law of attraction. It's about, okay, if my energy levels are at a certain place, I'll naturally connect with other like-minded people. For some, that's a version of spirituality. At the bottom, what you see is physical universe. And physical universe is really powerful. People call it all sorts of different things in books and in teaching. But essentially what it's saying is that what is around me isn't lying, right? I wouldn't have the things I have if I wasn't capable of them. You wouldn't have the money around you or a great relationship or great friendships or great businesses if you didn't invest in those things, right? So the physical universe doesn't lie. So am I spending my money, my energy, my intentions on things that are in line with what I believe in, my purpose, my core? If I do, I'm creating more energy for myself, right? Or am I spending my money, my time, and my intentions on things that aren't really that important to me? A great example is my kids will bug me all the time and say, Mom, why don't you buy a new car? Like, you're showing up to training, your Volvo's getting a little bit old now. It's a 2010, but yeah, like it's 2017. And they're like, you have dings on it, you've done all this stuff. That looks bad. Like, you're showing up to train people. I said, but you know what? Yeah, does it look bad? Sure. I don't clean my car all the time. I'm busy. Like, I don't, you know, whatever. But does it look bad? Maybe. But the truth of it is, if I bought a new car just because of what I care about other people think, that's not in line with my values. My values, I don't care what car I drive. I just want it to be really safe, because sometimes I'm fearful I'm not the best driver I could be, but I want the car to be extremely safe, and I want it to be reliable, and I want to invest my money in other things. So in my world, I'm really in tune with my values. And my values are, I'd rather travel, I'd rather invest in my business, I'd rather invest in, you know, an actual investment than spend money on something like a car. I really want a fun car one day. That's in line with my values, because I like to drive. I want a convertible because I enjoy being out driving. I enjoy Niagara on the Lake. Though tourism, travel, adventure are really high on my values list. So I will invest in that, but I'm not going to invest in an everyday car just because, you know, it's looking old now. That for me would bring my energy down, because I know inside of me, yeah, I'm not buying the car because I care about it for me. There's nothing wrong with my car. It's still great. It still drives. There's no issue. That's in line with my values. The minute I start buying things to impress other people that I don't really believe in, that's when our energy stores start to go down. And that's when it cycles back up. So basically, I start with a certain amount of energy. I hit my relationships. I hit my self-care, right? Health, mental, emotional, physical, nutrition, exercise, all those things. I hit a career that either I'm passionate about, I love, or maybe that I could be passionate about and love, but I'm out of alignment with it. I'm not being reverent about what that business brings to me. I'm not being grateful about what that business brings to me, maybe. And that might deplete my energy, even though it's a great business for me. That's 100% possible. And then I'm going to hit prosperity. And maybe I'm upset that I'm not making the money I'm making. Maybe I'm thrilled that I'm making a lot of money and my energy is good, but I want more time. Who knows? And that money and that energy is going to go back into the world around me at what I choose to spend my time, energy, and my money on. And if it's in line with my values, it's going to replenish me. If it's not, it's going to deplete me. So this is a huge concept. It seems kind of, I try to teach it as straightforward and simplistic as I can because I don't want to overwhelm people with it. Each one of the concepts have, you know, different books, different teachers, different formulas that we actually use to help you to assess where you're at. So I did ask you guys to rate yourself 1 to 10. So before we move further, because I have some other tools to give you today, I'm just watching our time. So please rate yourself 1 out of 10 on career and business. And that's your own perception. Some of us who are, you know, type A people, I think I'm always looking ahead with career and business. So there's always a lot I want to do. And it's hard for me to remember, okay, look back. What have you done in 6 months? What have you done in a year, right? So I get it. It's personal. But give yourself a 1 out of 10 on career and business. And I'd also like you to please give yourself a 1 out of 10 on prosperity and abundance. Also on physical universe, what am I spending my money on? What's around me? Does it reflect who I am? Does it reflect how I see myself? Does it reflect how hard I'm working, right? Is it in line with my values? And a 1 out of 10 on the top for spiritual universe. And that, again, whatever definition you have of it is totally acceptable and fine. That's not for me to get into, okay? So once you've done that, I want us just to take a quick minute before we move on at all. And I want you to do an exercise that's taught in all different ways. It's extremely important. Take the 1 to 10, put a little circle in the middle of this lovely stick-ish person, put a little dot, like a center. And now I want you to give yourself lines. So you're gonna give yourself a line for relationship, a line for career and business, a line for energetic, prosperity, physical, universe. You're gonna give yourself 2 lines at the top because one's gonna be your physical, emotional, mental health. The other is going to be spiritual universe, okay? So think of it like axles. So each one of these lines to energetic, relationship, health, spiritual universe, career, and prosperity, and then physical universe are all axles to a wheel, okay? And the wheel is how we do our mapping, because the best way I can communicate this is that I can get on a bike, right? And it can be a plain bike, it can be a crazy upgraded sports bike, it can be a beach cruiser, my favorite. It can be like one of those top of the line, crazy thin wheels that I'll probably fall off and kill myself. But anyway, it can be any of that. It's a wheel. What you're gonna do is you're gonna start from the center, and if you got 8 out of 10 on relationships, you're gonna go 8/10 of the way on that line and put a little circle. If you got 10 out of 10, you're gonna put your circle at the end of that axis, okay? If you guys are following me. I need you to do that for each one of these categories. And when you're done, I need you to connect the dots. So what we're looking for is that if you have a really round circle, your wheel, when you start to go to put new projects in place or new relationships, new friendships, your energy is much more level. So when you get on that bike, it's going to be much easier for you to get momentum very quickly because you have higher integrity in all areas of your life. So basically, if it was a bucket, right? You don't have a huge gaping hole in your relationship area that's taking all of your energy down, right? It's depleting everything you have. You don't care about business anymore because your relationship's such a mess that you're just completely in shambles over it, right? And you're gonna do the same thing for each area. So if your wheel is kind of wonky, right? Like you're looking at like you've got like huge brakes, we all know how well you're actually gonna drive with that. So the power of energy mapping is it gives you a way to consciously look at what's strong and what's depleting me when I go into performing in my business and in my life. Everything that we do when it comes to strict systems is all under career and business. It's such a small facet of what your potential is to get to the next level. And most people cap themselves. They cap themselves in career and business because of all the other stuff in their life that's taking their time and energy that they're not willing to address, they're not willing to strengthen, or that they weren't honest with themselves. That, hey, yeah, having a crappy relationship makes my life harder. It makes my career harder. It makes my life, my relationships with other people harder, makes my health poor. Wait, you know what? Let's get real about how these things affect me. And the same thing, you know, if I'm eating poorly or not exercising, of course. So I'm challenging each one of you. Obviously, you're not sharing this with me. This is the power of webcasts. But to be really honest about what your wheel looks like. No matter how much effort you put in, no matter how much you do, if your wheel is completely deformed, you can put in as much effort as you want. It will never be as easy for you to have success as somebody who has more integrity in all areas of their life because they have momentum. They have that DNA. They don't have to think about it, right? It's not always the things that help us. Sometimes it's eliminating the things that hold us back, right? Those little things that are problems, that are issues, can deplete far more energy than a new system can give you by way of an advantage. Doesn't make a lot of sense, right? It makes sense to refine what we're good at and be masters of it and combine it with a purpose and passion. That's when we get the staggeringly successful results. So very important for us. So we're getting a little bit short on time, not completely short on time. So I want to give you a couple of strategies. So one, and let's see if I can actually erase this lovely line that doesn't make sense anymore. Maybe. Oh yes, good. Okay, so one of the things that we want to think about is with energetics, when we wake up in the morning, one of the most influential times for ourselves, for our relationship with ourselves and for our energy, is to take a little bit of time to get clarity. So one of the things that you'll look at, if you read Morning Miracle, and I'm always such an advocate of that book. I mean, the way that I was taught so many techniques in personal development, Miracle Morning, like, it's a short little book, it's a quick read, and it makes it so simplistic. I read the book and I was almost upset. I'm like, you're kidding me. It took me years of investing to understand this stuff. Now my clients like order Morning Miracle. And you don't need to order the special one. Like, there's one for real estate, one for sales, all that great stuff. Just order the normal Morning Miracle, and it will help you nurture just this one component. So how we start the day is going to set the tone for the way the entire day plays out, the way that my energy flows, again, if I feel optimal or if I feel depleted. And there's a 3-step process that works really well. So number one, what are my intentions? My work is in creation. If I'm passionate and purposeful and I want to make a contribution, my energy is good, then I'm here to create something. I'm here to create my day or my week or my month, right? So my intention is, what do I intend to create today? And be very specific, right? Do I intend to create strong relationships? Do I intend to create strong bonds? Do I intend to create strong systems today, right? Do I intend to create a healthy body? Do I intend to create vital health? What is it? What are you thinking about that is going to create the world that is your definition of success? What are you thinking about, right? Those thoughts are going to set your energy level. Now I'm going to go out into my day, and my next job is, guess what? I can't just think about what I want in the morning. That would be great. That would be nice, but that's not enough. I need to go out into my day, and my discipline work, my hard work, is that I need to pay attention to the things that I intended to. So if you're in sales, it might be prospecting. You knew you needed to prospect 2 hours today. You set an amazing intention. You're excited about it. You knew, well, maybe you're excited. Some people are. You knew, if I prospect 2 hours every single day, I'm on track for my goals. But then you got out and you're like, oh, it's sunny today. Okay, I walked into the brokerage, and there's always, in sales environments, there's always, you know, people who do lots of lunches, right? Like the patio lunches and the margaritas and all the fun. So all of a sudden it's like, hey, why don't you come out with us and have lunch? You know, a margarita, it's so sunny outside. And now it's tricky, because now it's, okay, do I keep my word to myself? Because remember your wheel, right? If I don't keep my word to myself and I don't keep my intentions, I'm depleting my integrity, which means my axle is a lot weaker that day and my capability is a lot weaker that day. Because guess what? I can't trust myself to set a plan and run with it. And that's a problem. If I had plans to have lunch and I intended, I want to nurture my relationships with my coworkers, with my friends, with my family, that's completely different. That was my intention. But if I take myself out of the game, if I know I need to do these things to be strong, to be complete, to be powerful, to be integrous, and I choose not to do them, it's self-sabotage. I'm sabotaging my results. And sometimes we all need a break. Don't get me wrong. We all need a vacation. We all need an on-season and off-season. We need to recuperate. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about training myself, that I set plans that I don't follow, that I make commitments to myself that I don't stay true to. To me, it's even worse to set a commitment to myself and not stay true to it than it is to say something to somebody else. Because you know what? I might have committed something to somebody else without really being honest. Do I have the time? Is it within my values? Is it something I should have said no to? And I can go back and say, you know what, I'm really sorry. Like I committed to doing this, but now I have all these projects and I have to keep my word and I'm not going to be able to do that. I'd rather do that than make a commitment to myself about something that's important to me and turn around and say, it's okay, I don't need to do that. So it's not just what is my intention, it's do I have the ability to pay attention to what I need to do, the discipline work, even when it's not fun, even when it's not sexy, even when it doesn't feel glamorous. Do I have that ability to be disciplined? And finally, can I allow? My art is to allow, right? Can I allow things to flow in and out of my life? Can I allow the fact that sometimes people are going to need me and I'm not going to be available? I don't know about you guys, that's a hard one for me. I really am close with my clients, and I have a close-knit relationship with, like, for a coach with most of them. And sometimes they need me for extra things. And it's been hard in the past for me to say, you know what, I'm not available. And now I'm able to realize that being unavailable sometimes is a good thing, because my clients sometimes figure things out they didn't need me for. Maybe they're on to a next stage. Sometimes it's already figured out by the time I bend my whole schedule to accommodate them, and they're like, it's fine, right? So am I able to allow? Am I able to ask for what I want and show up with full confidence that it's already coming to me? If I do the prospecting, if I do the number of contracts, if I do the showings, if I lead my clients, I will naturally get the sales. That's what's going to happen if my energy is high. And if I spend time with my children, a certain amount per week, and I pay attention to their love languages, different topic, but I pay attention to what makes them feel loved, and I do those things, I have a better relationship with my kids. Can I allow that? Can I set an intention to have a better relationship with my kids? And then when the day gets super busy, can I pay attention to it? Sometimes it's really hard. I've got a lot of deadlines, like you guys on this call, right? So sometimes it can be really hard, and I have to really hold myself to pay attention to the things you intended to, and then give things some time to flow into our lives, right? Allow that the right projects for us are going to come, the right, friends, the right coworkers. I've had experiences where I've pretty much had to change almost my entire friendship pool, because some of the people that I really relied on, that, I delivered for them in huge ways as friends, they just weren't friends. Their values weren't the same. So if you're a person who is, committed to contributing and purpose, you might not align so well with people who are more of a belief that, there's only so much to go around. That kind of mentality, I know for me, is quite toxic. I don't know about for you guys. So 3 steps. If we can spend 15 minutes in the morning, what are my intentions? Who am I? At the core, who am I? If I don't know myself, it's pretty hard to be intentional, right? What's important to me? I only need to set intentions that are in line with what's important to me. I don't care if it's important to my neighbors, my friends, my family, unless it's like my kids and something you need to take into consideration. But judgments of other people, no, I could care less. That's not my job. My job is to know what's important to me, what's important for my life and the people involved in it, my responsibilities, and set those intentions with clarity, and then pay attention to them, be disciplined with them. And once I've done that, I don't need to do anything else. I don't need to fret if it seems like something's going wrong or some disaster is going to happen. I just need to do what I can and allow. Take a deep breath and allow it, right? Allow things to come to me. Because I don't know about you guys, when I get stressed and I get busy, my whole body, I've been talking about this with clients today, my whole body kind of tenses up, and really, like, I'm pushing away any help, any opportunities, but anybody who could maybe help make that situation easier, because I feel like, okay, I have to solve this right now, and it causes such immense stress. So how can we allow? Maybe if something's going sideways, it's going to come back around. How can we have faith that our plan is working for us? Okay, so that's one of the strategies that I wanted to bring to you today. So I think it's a really important one for all of us. And I think probably looking at the time, and because we're going to continue on with this in 2 weeks, that this is probably a good place for us to end. This weekend, most months, there is an Awaken Your Potential program that is run. It is run by Avalon Empowerment. They are under our hub with Core Pursuit. They are training partners. So we're very honored that they roll out these programs for our Core Pursuit clients, Kathleen Black coaching and consulting clients, and they are fantastic. So this weekend is one of those programs. If you're watching this later on in the future, you definitely can go on our website, www.kathleenspeaks.com, and under events, You can register for Awaken Your Potential, and it's an introduction to NLP, basically. And for me, every time I go there, I go once a year, and it's a weekend, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. Every time I go, I just feel like I take a couple of layers off. Like I get back again in alignment. And that's what I'm all about. I'm most powerful when I'm aligned to my purpose. So some of the frames that we work with there, and that we work with coaching as well, is cause and effect. So simple. Another way to say this is leadership and victim mentality, but cause and effect is makes sense, right? It's an NLP process. So cause, if I'm in cause, what is my life going to be like? I'm going to have more peace around me, right? If I'm leading my life and I know what I want and I have clarity and I'm powerful, I'm going to have more peace around me because I'm not going to engage a lot of drama. If people have judgment or they have criticism, good for them. Like, I'm good with what I'm doing. I'll listen to feedback. I'll adjust. I'll be better. But if it's something where it's a judgment or it's drama and it's just, people like bickering, no, I'm not going to engage in that. So I'm going to have more peace. I'm also going to have more results. Now, you notice under effect, and for those of you listening in sales environments, this is crucial. Under effect, I'm going to have a whole bunch of reasons. I did all that prospecting, but nothing happened. I got no results. I don't know. No one wants to talk to me. I don't know. I tried to talk with my kids, but they weren't interested. So I just gave up, right? I don't know. It's too hard. Nobody can build a team. It's just impossible. Kathleen, you don't understand, right? So there's going to be a lot of blaming, complaining, justifying, and feeling really sorry for myself. Poor me, the world is so hard on me. I'm not able to have any outcomes here. I'm not able to bend the world in my favor in any way. I'm going to have all these reasons. And these reasons, what's going to happen? Think about your wheel. These reasons are going to build up and build up and build up and build up until I'm under so much stress, pressure, residue of all this garbage, all these reasons that I told myself why I can't do the things that I want to do in my life. It's going to be almost suffocating me. So imagine how your energy would feel if you kept committing again and again and again to reasons why you're not good enough to do what you want to do. You've got to be kidding me, right? Can you imagine buying into that? Like actually having that mentality? I'm going to tell myself again and again all these reasons, because you know what the hardest part about this is? It's not about if I buy it. Let's say I'm your coach and you're telling me all these reasons. Okay, great. I say, okay, fine. Maybe they're actual reasons. Maybe they're legitimate. That's not the worst part of this scenario. The worst part is you're buying it. If you're going to work that hard to convince me, to convince your coworkers, your family, your children, whoever else, that you're not capable to do the things that you love or that you want to do or are important to you, imagine. It's like you're putting rocks over yourself, like you're building your own tomb, and not in a good way, that is putting you under of all the reasons why you can't do something. So you're arguing and using all your energy to argue for your limitations. That's always in effect, right? And you can hear it. If you know and you listen, you can hear it. When I work with people go into effect, it's very draining for me. I find it extremely draining because sometimes it can be hard, depending on the rapport, to basically say, like, get it together. Are you kidding me? Like, get the resources you need. Invest the time, the energy, the money to get the resources you need to go where you want to go. That's what leaders do, right? That's why I'm a coach, because to me, it's like, just do it. Okay, so we have results or we have reasons. Here's the beautiful thing. Results also have reasons, but they're correlated. So I've got results because my reasons are intact. My reasons support me. They support my magnificence. They support my capabilities. The opposite way does not work. I have reasons, but I have no results. Yeah, your reasons, they aren't great. We've all been there. Let's just get them off the table and start again, right? Creation versus repetition. So we talked about within intention, my job is to create. It's to create my day. It's to create my world. It's to plan. It's to be inspired. It's to have goals, right? Inspired people attract other inspired people. People like to work with inspired people, right? They're trying to they're trying to make a difference. They're trying to make a contribution. If I'm in effect, I'm in repetition. And I can't tell you how important those last two are to mastery. People who are masters, again, learn something so well that it becomes an art form to them and they don't need to think about it consciously anymore. Really think about that for a second. Think about dancers or figure skaters, right? Dancers are easier for me. So think about dancers who have been trained to dance, but then they have a routine and they forget themselves, right? And how beautiful it is to watch. They're just fully immersed in that aura of what they're doing. And that's because they're in creation. They may have danced those steps 2 million trillion times before. They may have practiced it 10,000 times, like the 10,000 kicks. But when they do that dance, it's beautiful because it's in line with an intention to create something of purpose, something of beauty, something of craftsmanship, right? Artistry. That's where it's at. If you're in repetition, you'll have those same dance steps and you will get bored and you will stop using them. And you'll say, dance is boring now. I don't want to do it. I've already learned this, right? You hear it in your master implementers. They can be guilty of this sometimes. They'll take training and they're like, I already know it. I already know it. They'll forget the intention is what makes it an art. The intention is what gets us the mastery. The lack of intention, again, gets us average. We get bored, we move on, we're gone. So I challenge all of you that if you find yourselves complaining, blaming, justifying, or feeling sorry for yourself, let yourself do it a bit. We all need to vent, but then listen to yourself and be like, wow, I'm in effect. I can't create any positive outcomes here. I'm again under this self-imposed tomb of my limitations, and that's very difficult. So how do I get myself back in cause? And I'd say the beautiful thing is when you start to understand this mindset, right? It's no surprise for me that I had such a shift in the people around me, because when you really start to understand this mindset, you start to listen for it. You also don't want to be around others who are in effect. I have great people around me, and when I fall into effect really quickly, questions like, is there anything you can do about it? Right away. Is there anything you can do about it? Then move on to the next thing. That's it. Or then, yeah, you need to do something about it. Is there a way to solve this? So they're very quickly say nice things, warm things, but that push me back into cause. And those are the people you want to talk to, right? You don't want to talk to those people around us who are always like, oh, it's not you, and you're so great, and the world's so awful to you, and everyone's so hard on you, and you're a horrible girlfriend, boyfriend, friend, boss, whatever, right? Those aren't the people you want to talk to when you want solutions to make your life better. That doesn't make sense, right? Those are the people you go to make you feel better, because you don't want to look in the mirror. You want to be like, oh, you know, for example, I don't understand what's going on. I don't feel good, but I'm eating like Big Macs 3 times a day and I stopped exercising. I go to the person who also lives like that, because I want them to tell me, well, you're too hard on yourself. And you know what? Give yourself a break. It's all fine. If I want to be real about my life, I go to the person who says, are you kidding me, Kathleen? Like, I saw you eat like 2 Big Macs yesterday. What are you doing? And remember how good you felt when you were exercising? What are you doing to create the energy level that makes you feel good? What are you doing about that? Those are the people that I go to, right? They're honest with me. They keep me in cause. Instead of keeping me in a problem that I'm going to cycle through the rest of my life, they try to break it up and say, guess what? You've got tools. Like, you can make this better. You can do something about this. So really watch, like if you're in a team or you have close friendships, try to look at it. And awareness is a gift, and it also can be a burden, because sometimes, you know, I found that there's a lot of people around me who just didn't want to break out of effect. And sometimes maybe I don't. We don't know what we don't know, right? We all have areas of our lives that maybe we're not in awareness of at the time. But this will really help you, again, to take complete responsibility for everything that is or is not working in our particular lives. So at this point, I think that that's a good place for us to conclude, because we're at the hour mark. So I hope all of you have your actual wheel, you have your spokes. Some of this I will take you back. As we know, I put too much content. It's just kind of my trademark, right? But we will cover this with everybody who jumps on board with Core Pursuits. I will do the second half of this presentation 2 weeks from now. Coming up in May, Rob's going to have some guests coming on who actually provide some NLP coaching. Under Core Pursuit, we do a variety of different NLP coaching, breakthroughs, quantum change process, a whole bunch of really amazing stuff that allows us to get in tune with our energy levels. And some people, energy work is really like a mystery, right? It's a foreign concept. It's pretty much the #1 place I always seek resources. I'm pretty good with the rest of it, but energy work, I find just to stay honest with myself, because I'm very logical, I can try to say, oh, it's okay, you're feeling tired because of this, or oh, just ignore it. So I need energy guides. That's my thing. My energy is my prosperity. It's not time and money. Those things used to be okay, time a little bit, but it's very much energy. So this weekend, Awaken Your Potential. If you're interested, please do go to our website. This is an example of all the different things we do under Core Pursuit. Core Pursuit, again, is for everyone and anyone. It's not for a particular industry. It's for any entrepreneur, small business, corporation, family, any team that you're looking to help with leadership, mindset, and communication. These things are vital for all of us. My life was so much more painful before I understood these tools, and I invested in these tools for myself and for my clients. That's the other reason I did that. So I've already talked about the Core Pursuit membership. It is half price until Friday. You will get an email after this. You can also go on Core Pursuit under coaching programs on our website. So I'll leave that to you guys. If you see value, jump on. It's month to month. There's no long-term commitment, nothing like that. We'd love to have you. Core Pursuit workshops. There's a lot that we do. The Awaken Your Potential weekend is the 2-day introduction to NLP. Under Avalon Empowerment, we also provide NLP practitioner training. You can become certified as an NLP practitioner, an NLP coach, hypnotherapist, timeline therapy. I'm certified in all of those things. And no, I'm not hypnotizing you right now. My kids think I always do, but no. And also there is a mastery level of that for NLP as well, Master NLP Coach. We do Introduction to Personality Profiling, which is about a 2.5 hour course. We do a full advanced DISC personality workshop. So that's all day. I'm a certified trainer in DISC. Our director of coaching, Andy Harrington, is also certified in DISC education. So both of us run out those programs. And I highly encourage you, if you're getting advice on DISC, find out if they're trained. Find out if they're certified. A lot of people say they train DISC, but what type of training have they had? I would just say is quite important, but that's your choice. We also do vision, values, goals, and why they matter. Those are those core alignment tools. So coming up into the new year, that's something we offer for all of our clients, for anyone local who would like to come out to our office, to our training center. And we also offer energy mapping workshop. It's a full day, or sometimes it's 2 half days, and that is only run about once or twice a year. So if you're interested in any of this, anytime, reach out. You can send us an email at info@kathleenspeaks.com anytime to inquire about these programs. I've either built all these or I've done all of these. So I would say we can answer any questions. And at that, I'm just going to thank everybody for your time, wish you a fantastic Wednesday, and to look at your wheel. And if it's not what you want it to be, decide what you're willing to do about it to make it better, because I believe each of us are capable of doing that. So that's my final wish to each of you. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon.